My name is Idan. I'm currently working at MYOB for the past 3 years. I'm currently the head of delivery for operations. So I basically manage the operations divisions. I manage security crews, incident management, and the DevOps, and other areas as well. But those are the main areas. Like I said, I've been in MYOB for about 3 years. I think I've been in leadership roles for probably just nearly 10 years now. Before that, I worked at Australia Post as an engineering manager. And again, my background is software development, so kind of where I grew up. Kind of started off as a software developer way back in the 90s. Worked at startup companies, worked in big companies after the dot-com when startup companies started to go away for a while. I've been in Australia for the last 15 years, or 16 years now, 2003. Started my career as a software developer, senior developer, tech lead, team lead, engineering manager, dev manager, now head of. And I think only in the last few roles they were made consciously as a conscious decision of where I want to go and how I want to progress my career, and really actively thinking about that next role. What can I learn? What are the things there that are attracting me to the role? I think up until at the start it was very natural. It was a reactive kind of approach from coming in from you're a developer. Oh, you're very good. You're going to be a senior developer. Oh, you can talk. Why don't you be a tech lead or a team lead? And it kind of moved the way around until I kind of really found my space in leadership. Most of them on eBay. No, I'm just, I think, so a lot of these skills are, I think, acquired with experience. The more you are in any industry, you kind of learn a lot of things along the way. So a lot of it is learning through being in the space. But also a lot of it is through kind of workshops and courses and programs that different places have. Like if Australia Post, I had a 3-day kind of leadership workshop that kind of teaches you a lot of the basics, a lot of the tools. And then everything else is about experience, right? You learn the tools, now go and apply them and practice. A lot of it is around mentorship and coaching, finding the right people to work with. Find strong leaders that are your managers that kind of really help you and coach you through that journey. And I think I was lucky enough to have those along the way. So even here now and even in the past, I had good managers or leaders that kind of really helped me and guide me and kind of taught me how to do certain things. I think one of the things is that I've learned, looking back, right, and I'm kind of thinking about 10 years into it, the first thing, when you're moving into leadership roles, I think the first thing that hit me was that imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome, for me anyway, it's like hay fever. It comes every once in a while. It comes back again, right? Every season, when you're moving into a new role, when you're getting a promotion or you're moving to a new company, you get that hit. And the imposter syndrome is that feeling that you're kind of not being able to do the job, right? And it hits very hard, especially when you're moving from a developer or an engineer role into a leadership role, right? You're a doer, now you're an enabler. And I think one of the key things that kind of, when I was thinking about it, one of the main reasons for that is that it's very easy to articulate your value when you are a doer. When you're an engineer, a BA, a QA, I delivered this card, I worked on this feature, I fixed this bug, I delivered this product. It is very clear to articulate my value. This is what I've done. When you're a leader and you're an enabler, and you talk to your manager, what have you done in the past 6 months, and had one-on-ones, it's very hard to kind of sometimes to articulate to yourself what value you bring to the company, right? And that is the first thing I kind of, not the first thing, but now in retrospect is one of the first things is important to learn is have a clear understanding of what value you bring as a leader, right? This is a very good to have real clarity of what your role is, what is the value, why are you there in the organization, what value you bring, all right? And there's 2 ways to kind of get that affirmation as, okay, I'm doing the right thing. One of them is obviously by having a clear definition of the role and what your purpose and what you're doing here in the company. And the other one is always feedback. Seek out feedback. Always ask for feedback from your managers, from your direct reports, from your peers. Am I doing a good job? Is there anything else I can do? What can I help you with? All that is really, really important. And I think those things kind of help alleviate the imposter syndrome. Like you're saying, what we said before, it's a two-way street, right? Like I think a lot of the issues are coming the other way when in today's digital world, we're all digital businesses. Everybody, we're all technology. A bank is all tech. We're MYOB, we're accountants, it's all tech. We're all software, we're all tech, we're all digital. So it's also important that the business understand in today's world how they are delivering their products, right? So I don't expect businesses to understand what is a GitHub and what is a pull request and how we manage Kubernetes. But it is important that business also understand that right now software is not shipped in a box through a warehouse like it used to before, and today we deliver software through the cloud and it's scaling and it's on a server somewhere, and these are things that would happen like network issues. So understand, try to explain the process of software delivery in a simple term, or try to explain it really for people that are non-technical to understand these are the steps that we work for, right? A developer writes the code on their computer, but then eventually they push it onto a server that sits somewhere in the cloud, and then other developers put it on the server, and then the code gets merged and we have to test it, and et cetera, et cetera. So to explain to the business as well the process of delivering software, right? So I think there's kind of, we need to come in from both angles, right? And meet somewhere in between. In terms of how to, I think the more you get, I think business is coming around. So today, if you have technical BAs and PMs that are working in digital software, they understand. They understand when teams come and say, look, there's tech debt, or we really need to fix this before we can do these features, right? I think there's a lot less kind of this. It comes down to really having that conversations around value and explaining the value. When you articulate the value of a proper CI/CD, and you can actually demonstrate to the business that instead of having 4 releases in a year, you can now release every 2 weeks, every week, whenever you really want to. It's there just whenever you want, we can get that value out to customers. They will understand the value, and they will actually, I'm hoping, in most cases, actually prioritize that in the right way, because they will actually see, well, that actually helps me. So I'm willing to spend the time now to make that gains later down the track. But maybe not. Maybe they have a certain audience that are not really keen for, they don't need value features every 2 weeks. For them, if you release once a year a version, they're happy. So then the challenge is back to the engineers. Do you really need a top-notch CI/CD microservices pushing out in real time 5 times a day if your customers don't need it? I don't know. I'm not judging. You need to kind of find the balance of where is the right value and what is the best for the organization in which you work with. Some people really enjoy delivering features and delivering value. The tech is not as important. Some people, the tech is really important. The fact that I'm writing in functional programming versus Java for me is critical. I think there is a balance in that, like, again, depending on the people. But I think we also have to understand, right? Engineers are passionate about technology. We've gotten to where we've gotten because of innovation and pushing the boundaries and trying new things, right? If we left everybody, imagine if we curbed all that enthusiasm 20 years ago, we'll still be writing in C and C++, right? So somebody came and said, hey, we should try this as Java or .NET, and people pushed back on that. What are you talking about? So we need to kind of enable innovation, and I think innovation, just enabling innovation, letting people kind of explore that kind of technical creativity opens up ideas for the business as well. So it's not just about, I want to try the new functional programming, but actually when you try new things on AWS that come out, or when you try new tech, you're also trying new things for your product, you're also trying new things for the business, and sometimes ideas come out of that. By looking at something, you can actually say, we can actually do this feature a lot cooler or a lot simpler, and actually I can save us a lot of money because I can implement this much simpler than if we used our old ways of working, right? So there's always a balance, right? When we talked about having a target and setting context, I think that's part of our main role as leaders. We are enablers. We let the teams do the work, but our goal is to set strategy and context, right? And it's very important to have that. So when you look at your company vision, your strategy, whatever it is, and then it is important to kind of try and look at it and start to distill, what does that mean for me, right? And what does that mean for my teams? And a lot of it is like, sometimes I kind of go both ways, you know what I mean, from the bottom up, but also from the top down. So when I look at the teams that I have, and I know the work that they're doing, you know, kind of asking myself, why is the company paying? Why are we spending this money to have these teams? What are they doing? What's the value? Okay, so they're doing DevOps. Okay, what does that help me? Okay, yeah, well, they're helping the other crews because they're doing all the heavy lifting, they're all the infrastructure. They're taking away those problems from the crews, so the crews can actually focus on building features, right? And I'm doing all the infrastructure, and I'm helping them deliver features faster. Okay, so that's how I'm helping the crews, and the crews deliver faster so they can actually deliver this product, so that's how it ties back to the strategy, right? So I'm kind of trying to really draw that narrative and connect the dots. Always have the customer line of sight. This is our strategy, this is our customer for this company, this is the product we're delivering, this is the value, and how do we help in driving that product? What are we doing that is helping the company drive that strategy? And it's very important to kind of draw that narrative all the way down to the team, right? So you've got, again, everybody has a Spotify model, so you've got your tribes and your divisions and all that, right? So you take away from the company, down to your division, down to that tribe, down to that crew. Right? What is the purpose of this crew? So what is the purpose of the nation, the whole company, down to what is the purpose of this? Why do we have this tribe? Well, this tribe is in charge of this business domain, and this is the value that we're delivering. Okay, so we have like your mission statement for the tribe, and then all the way down to the crew. How does that support that? And if you are able to build that connecting thread, then you'll be able to tell the story all the time. So if you're saying, oh, I'm working on Kubernetes, that's my main mission for this next 3 months, I'm building up Kubernetes and Docker containers. That's my DevOps team. Okay, why? Because that's going to help, you know, us building an engineering platform for CD, for deployment of our Docker containers, so that enables us to deploy our products into production. Cool. So, well, that helps the crews deliver this product, and that helps us deliver this product, which is part of our strategy to win new market. And if I can tell that story every time I'm in a stand-up and people can always answer why they're doing the work they're doing, then you have that connection and alignment, and people understand the value that they're bringing to the company and the engagement. And for me personally, I think it's a bit harder when I'm in ops, when you're sitting a few steps away from your customer, and you have a few more hops to connect the story and the narrative. But it is really important to do that, I think. Yeah. Ops, it's probably a bit different. I think overall we look at everything that's on the table, and I think it's about having conversations with the right technical people and the expertise, understanding what is the most valuable thing at the end of the day, right? So for us, if it's ops, and you look at it, you look at what would bring the best value to the company, right? Like if I'm going to do this capability, how many teams will be benefiting from this? Is it one team or 5 teams? Is it a team that's working on our most critical product, or is it 5 teams that are working on a mature product that they can wait 6 months? So that's some of the thinking, right? At the end of the day, I think in ops it is a bit different versus product. With product, you've got product managers and product owners and people that are really understanding the business side, and they can really prioritize and tell you this is what needs to work. With operations, we really try and look at what would bring me the best bang for buck, and that's what I should prioritize first. And that's kind of at the end of the day. So there's different things that we use, like there's cost of delay models that are kind of different formulas that different companies use, and that's more of from a business side of things. Like you would define like the cost of delay model is something that you would use like to define, okay, what would be the cost of not doing something, right? The WSGIF is in the SAFE protocol about doing the best value thing first. So you kind of measure about, okay, how much effort is required to do something, what is the value that you'll get, what is the cost of not doing it, like how much would it cost you to delay it for 6 months or the other. And there's a bit of a formula and you can come up with a number, so these things are on the internet. And some companies use that to kind of say, okay, here's how I kind of try to prioritize this is more valuable than that because it got a bigger score. Yeah, but I think in us, it's really looking at what is the biggest bang for buck, where's the biggest impact, can we deliver something quickly? Sometimes there's obviously dependencies, so sometimes you'll do things in terms of, okay, well, we actually have to do this before we can do that. But you want to manage your WIP and your throughput. You don't want to say, yeah, I've got 7 things and they're all priority 1. I think that's kind of, you're losing. In the same way that there's no sense in putting 7 people on a job that 2 people can do, because you're not going to get a lot of benefit or value in that. There's no point in having 7 jobs for 7 people, because again, you're spreading yourself too thin. And sometimes you want to find the right balance of managing that. Our main metrics, or what we look at, is when we build something, we want to make sure that we build, so we look at value. Are we building something that is valuable? Are we solving the right problem? We want to look at adoption. So for ops, for us, it's important to have adoption of whatever solution we have, because that's our main value we bring to the company, is adoption of our tool by the other teams. And we also look at satisfaction. How happy are they with the tools? If you build something that is really, really solving the problem, but it's so hard to adopt that nobody wants to adopt it, and people are pissed off when they use it, they'll stop using it, and they won't use it. And I've seen that in the past, right? So I've seen a lot of it is around AWS, and a lot of companies, you have your DevOps crew, and they build this kind of like an API or an abstraction on top of AWS, because you don't want people directly accessing AWS and having accounts and spinning up all the different tech. So you build like I don't know, I kind of keep imagining like this ironclad on top of AWS, and they start drilling holes where the light shines out. Here you can have an SQS, here you have S3, and then somebody says, I want to use Lambdas. No Lambdas here, so wait, we'll drill the hole and we'll do Lambdas for you. And either people get frustrated because they have to wait 6 months till you drill the hole, or sometimes you went and, oh, I drilled the hole, here's Lambdas for you, and nobody wants them, right? So a lot of it is around communication and collaboration. When we did ops here, a lot of the starting of the journey is the research. Go and talk to the crews. What are the problems? What can we help them with? What is their burning platform issues? What do we need to solve for? And then when we solved for, we made sure we had engineers on the journey. Is this the right solution? Do you like the solution? Is it easy to use, right? If we build this whole DevOps solution for deploying your Docker containers, and you're going to have to spend 2 hours of writing some config file in order to deploy that Docker container, you're not going to use it. You're going to go around my back and deploy it yourself somewhere else, right? But if I told you it's a quick 5-minute step, and here, just tell me what you want. Do you need a database? No. Do you need New Relic? Do you need logs? Do you need security? Blah, blah, blah. Just tick the boxes and submit, and I'll do it for you. And it's easy, then you'll do it. So I think that's the thing, right? Make sure you have value, make sure you have adoption, make sure you have satisfaction, and follow up on that. Always follow up on, get feedback from your internal customers, people that are using your services. Are they still happy? What can we do to improve? At the end of the day, it's people, right? So you go into interview and you've all felt it. A lot of it is around kind of that gut feel and how people have that first impression. But I think to be more scientific about it, when you look at teams, obviously in an organization, you have what everybody calls a cultural fit. So you look for that. What are the values of the organization? What is the vibe? What are you looking for? You want to make sure that the people fit into that organization. But also look within the team. So you're hiring for a team. What is the gap in that team? If your team already has a whole bunch of senior developers that are experts, do you need another senior developer expert, or can you hire juniors that come off the ranks? If all of them are introverted and really kind of, just stick to their work, and, getting them out for a coffee is a struggle, do you want another introvert? Or are you looking for somebody a bit more vibrant that can lift? So regardless of the personalities and the skills, I'm always hiring for potential. If somebody comes in and said, I've done all this, I've ticked all the boxes, I'm not going to hire them, because they are not going to have a challenge within 6 months of doing this role. They've learned the business. Everything else is already known. So I'm looking for people that are passionate, that they want to do, but also that there's a challenge there. They're looking for the next step. There's a gap there. I really want to, I've done a bit of leadership, but I haven't really been really doing delivery. So this is a challenge for me. And I'll assess whether they have that growth mindset. Are they learning? Are they willing to challenge? Do they accept failures? Do they acknowledge that they've failed and they've learned and they want to grow? And that's things that I would look for. People that would come in and kind of said that I've done all that, then I wouldn't hire her or him in that respect. If they've already done that role, then I am not offering them something to look up for, to look up to. The other thing I think is super, super critical in interviews, be honest. Mismanaged expectations is the highest reason from what I've read and statistically of people leaving the job. You promised me this, the job is totally different. Oh, we're going to be doing cool stuff. We're doing microservices. We're deploying every day. And then you put them in a team that's managing a legacy monolith, and they're deploying once every 6 months, and you're using, they're on Java 5. And they'll leave, right? Because you basically lied. So you need to really be open and honest and yeah, tell the good things that are in your company. Don't shy away of showcasing what is good in a company and why you do, because you're there as well. So you obviously enjoy working here, right? So I'm here, I'm enjoying the company. I'll tell you why I'm enjoying it and what, but I'm not gonna hide away. Here are the challenges and here are the opportunities for improvement. And this is one of the things that we really want to look into. So look for skills, look for potential, look for growth mindset, people that are really looking to grow. Collaboration is really, really important. People that can talk and articulate and want to share. Team players is important. It does depend on the culture, because some companies might not value that, right? So look at whatever your company values are, whatever the culture, what are the things that is important for that company, find the right people that fit that, and find the right people that would fit within your team. Part, like I said, in leadership is a self-reflection on yourself, right? What kind of leader you want to be, how do you operate, how do you manage yourself, and how do you kind of, what your value is. And first of all, is that kind of just me. The next level is your one-on-one, right? So as a leader, you have to have really good skills about having one-on-one conversations. How do you influence somebody at a one-on-one and a personal level? How do you give people feedback? How do you give people positive feedback, negative feedback, performance reviews? How do you resolve conflicts? All that is one-on-one, and that's the next level or the next circle around you as a leader, right? And the next circle is the group. How do you influence a group? How do you talk to a group? How do you align a group? How do you inspire them? How do you get them behind a vision or a mission statement? How do you get them out of the dumps when they're kind of feeling low and they're behind and they're all, red and underperforming and feel like, everybody's against them? How do you take them out of that? How do you help them go beyond the blockers? How do you mentor them? How do you coach them to get to that next level? Because as a leader, your goal is to be redundant. That is your main goal. As a leader of a team, you want a high-performing, independent team. You want that team to be able to operate without you. So a lot of that work is how you do that, right? And part of that is hiring the right people for that group. Not just individually, he might be a rock star and she might be awesome for the organization. She might not be a good fit for your crew. And then you want to make sure that you find a better place for her in another team, because you have a different dynamic. I think a lot of it comes with experience. The more you work with people, the more you get it. I think obviously get married, that helps, right? Because that will kind of really tweak your emotional intelligence and your ability to talk to humans, or have kids. That would bring out patience. But I think in the reality, a lot of it is around skills. Some of it is really mechanical skills, right? So you learn about, for example, the GROW model, right? How to have a one-on-one, a constructive one-on-one, and read about the GROW model, right? To kind of like describing a problem, so you can really go into a conversation very technically, right? And okay, this is what happened, this is your observation, this is my observation, moving forward, here are some things, how can we work out, what can we do to progress and to get to, so there's some mechanics you can actually do, and as you do it more, it becomes more of a natural thing. But I think at the end of the day, right, in any business, even in IT, it is all about people. You come to work, there's people. Even if you work from home, you're on a Skype, you talk to people. And we can see how that is important, and you just have to kind of really hone those skills. And the better you are at building relationships, the better you are, the more successful you'll be in an industry, not just IT. So I think it really is important to kind of pick up on those. And then, like I said, there are tools and workshops on like learning the mechanics of how to have. You can really break down these things if you kind of, this is what you should say at the start, this is how you frame it in the middle. So there's really tools to kind of build conversations and how to kind of structure arguments. And as you do that more and more, it becomes more of a natural thing than a formulated thing. But I think it is an important skill to pick up, for sure. If a team has a target and has a direction, that usually helps. I think sometimes you have to do a bit of a reset. Sometimes when things continually to go bad, you need to really analyze why it's going bad. Is it something simple to solve, like the tech, the delivery, what we're working on? Is it the reason we're bad? So maybe we pause and we reset and we reevaluate. Are we working on the right thing? Should we pivot? Should we give it something else? Or sometimes it's a lot more, it's more difficult when it's people. So the reason it's going bad is because interpersonal, personal problems from home leak into the team, relationships within the team, something there's frustration. Could be a lot of different things, right? And that's the more difficult ones to kind of try and assess. Like I said, my personal approach is always to be kind of transparent and open. If I see those things, I would usually, my main approach is to have one-on-one conversations with people in the team and try to get a feel of what is their sense, their perception of the world. Sometimes I can look back and say, oh, this team is really not operating, but they think they're humming. Do you know what I mean? I used to have it. I have an experience when I came to a team and I told them, people think you're the most difficult team to manage in the organization. And they looked at me surprised because, because I talked to one of them and he said, we're rock stars. Like they thought they were the best team because they were delivering some very complicated tech. But nobody wanted to deal with them personally because they were difficult to deal with. And so I have one-on-ones with people really to try to understand their perception. What is their view of the world? What is their reality? And if I can try and inspire and talk to them about how to change it, give them ideas or actually ask them what they would like to see in order for it to change, what would make you happy? What would make this change? And try to resolve those things. Sometimes it doesn't help, and then I would actually do an intervention and kind of really take the whole team into a room and be open and transparent and saying, okay, this is how I see things, this is what I feel. I've talked to all of you, I think this is what's happening. Let's open it up. Let's try and resolve these problems. How can I help? I want you guys to be happy. I want you guys to deliver. I want you to be, being in a good place. I want you to enjoy coming to work. What do I need to do to help out? And then it's just having a conversation and really trying to engage the group and understand what really is the problem for them. Don't try and solve it without them. I think it's important to always have that conversation. And I think, again, communication and collaboration will solve most of your problems by talking to people, understanding what their problem is, how you can help them. And if you build that level of trust, then usually you'd get good outcomes. If they trust you as a leader, that you are there for them, if they trust that you are really genuine about trying to help them and solve the problems, even though sometimes you can't, and you can say, look, we just have to deliver this. It doesn't matter how boring it is. You have to eat your broccoli sometimes, right? Somebody has to do this. And I'll try and get something more interesting lined up next time around. But right now, this is where we're at. So let's try and push through it and let's try and make this as enjoyable as we can, right? And try to, but don't bullshit them and say, hey, yeah, no, this is awesome. We're doing great stuff. So get them on board, have the conversation, try and solve it with them, and hopefully things will work out. The best way is to be blatant about it and just ask. So I'll usually ask my manager, can I relay that information, or is that something I shouldn't be talking about? He'll say, no, don't say anything just yet, so I'll know. But most of the times I will be, and again, this is, like I said, a skill, and I think, yeah, sometimes over-transparency is a problem, not because you're over-transparent in an issue itself, it's because the effect of that is causing issues for people sometimes. I have an issue with radio silence. That is a problem. So sometimes things are work in progress. We don't know yet. We're working it out. Company doesn't know what the strategy is for a certain area, and they're still kind of figuring it out. But when your people don't hear anything for 2 or 3 months, they think they have assumptions. Theories will come into play. So for me, it's very important to have an open line of communication, to tell people we're still figuring it out. This is what we've come up with so far. We don't know this. We're looking into that. So that is really important. But the flip side of that, the over-transparency is about saying things that might not be true or might be, oh, we're going to be doing this, and then 2 weeks time, it was just an idea. So it didn't come into play, and I've already planted that idea and then caused a problem. Because then I came back and said, well, do you remember that idea? We're not doing that. We've decided to do something else. But you said, and now I'm confused. So what's really going on? So you're giving us this kind of mixed messages. So sometimes over-transparency is kind of causing a bit of a problem. So it really is a fine balance of learning the right level of sharing. When you're starting out, don't go after the money, go after the skills. So learn the tech or get a good leader that you can learn skills off. I think it is really important. But also, I don't know if you are, depending on how early you are in your career, but at some point in time you get to a point in your career when you know where you want to be or where you're headed. And if you have that, then try and follow that, right? Try and make sure you make your career decisions, follow that, right? And if this is where you want to go, pick up the skills for that. It doesn't mean just getting a promotion or getting the next role that would give you those skills. Get those skills in your current role, right? If you want to be a project manager, don't wait until you get a project manager role, right? Start managing projects even though you're an engineer. Find those little gigs and saying, you know what, in the organization, I'm going to spend some time in managing this little project, whatever it may be, right? If you want to be an agile coach, right? Don't wait until hey, now you're an agile coach, here's the role. Learn how to be an agile coach. Start doing it within your company. Pick up the skills, then the roles will come, right? Pick up the toolkit, get those skills under your belt, the roles will come. Learn how to manage people, how to have, learn how to have, one-on-ones and good relationship conversations, how to inspire people, how to influence, even if you're not a leader, right? If you're just a member of a team, do that. And then when you do want to become a leader, you know how to do it. You can show that you've got the ability, right? So yeah, don't wait for the approval or the keys. You want to do something, do it.